My perception is there's a lot more space now in the discourse for not just space, but people are using that space to now really keep asking, like, wait a minute, why are we just always talking about Israel? Why are our politicians so devoted to Israel? Why is our foreign policy shaped around Israel? Why do we accept censorship for them? Why do we go to wars for them? And a lot of people who even 2 years ago were afraid to say it are now saying it quite vocally. Do you think that has been a significant change and improvement in terms of the ability and willingness, even of American politicians, let alone just ordinary Americans, to raise these kind of questions? When you wrote your book, there was no space practically. You created that space, but it took up until now for it to really people to get comfortable and have it be almost mainstreamed.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. You want to remember, we published the book in 2007, and the article was published in the London Review of Books in 2006, and that's approximately 20 years ago. So a lot of time has passed, and over the passage of those, 19 or 20 years, a lot's happened to make people aware of what the lobby is up to. And I would argue that what's happened since October 7th has made it manifestly clear to huge numbers of people what the lobby is all about and how it really perverts American foreign policy in ways that are not in the American national interest. And let me make two additional points about that, Glenn. One is you want to understand that defending Israel has become increasingly difficult for the lobby. And they therefore have to play smash mouth politics, and they have to do it in a very public way. So people now see the lobby in operation, engaging in smash mouth politics, smearing people as anti-Semites, calling Jews even anti-Semites or self-hating Jews in ways that, sort of cut against the way we're supposed to operate here in the United States. And this has done great damage to the lobby. There's no question about that. The second point I would make to you, there's a domestic dimension to this, and that has to do with what's happening on college campuses, right? You had all these protests against the genocide in Gaza. And these were people who were legitimately protesting the Gaza genocide. And what happened was they were tarred and feathered as anti-Semites. Many of them were deported, put in jail. This is ludicrous. I spent my life in academia, and up until October 7th, nobody ever talked about anti-Semitism in academia. The idea that Harvard and Columbia had an anti-Semitism problem is laughable. If you look at who the presidents of these institutions have been over time, who the provosts and deans and department chairs
and
are.
Donors.
And donors, huge numbers of Jews occupied these institutions, which in my opinion, and I want to be clear on this, was a wonderful thing, right? But there was no anti-Semitism problem. I never once ran into anyone talking in anti-Semitic terms. It just didn't happen, right? But all of a sudden, after October 7th, these places became hotbeds of anti-Semitism. And these people who were out there, many of them who were Jews, right, who were protesting the genocide in Gaza, were tarred and feathered. And everybody understands what's going on here, right? Everybody understands that what's happened is that the lobby has moved in and they want to shut down criticism of Israel. And the way they're shutting down criticism of Israel is they're using what Steve and I called in the book the great silencer, which is the charge of anti-Semitism. So these protesters of genocide were all of a sudden turned into raving anti-Semites. Again,
even though there was a big Jewish contingent in all of those protests, campus protest movements as well.
Exactly. But I would just say to you, you go to a college campus, you're dealing with people who have IQs that are up in the 120, 130, 150 range, and they can figure out very quickly what's going on. This is very bad for the lobby. Right? It's very bad for the lobby. And I'm just saying to you, don't lose sight of this dimension in addition to the smash mouth politics that's being played vis-a-vis Israel's foreign policy. And I would add my final point on this is that I think if you look forward, if you look at what's going to happen in the months and years ahead, I think the lobby is going to have to be out in public engaging in these kind of despicable ways for the foreseeable future for the purpose of defending Israel. And this is now reaching the point, this is what you were getting at, where so many people understand what's going on, that it probably will hurt the lobby and will hurt Israel in the long term.
One of the ironies of it is, a major grievance of conservatives over the past decade. Arguably their principal one, but certainly one of the top grievances that conservatives were voicing is that what liberals do, Democrats do, in order to shut down debate is they call people racist, they call people misogynist, they call people homophobic, transphobic, etc., as a way of smearing them and preventing any kind of dogma from being questioned upon pain of standing accused of being a racist and I think there was an immediate backlash to that, not immediate, but certainly over time, that not only made that tactic less effective, but it also drained those terms of their sting. I mean, if you overuse it, if everybody's a racist the minute you disagree with the Democratic Party plank, then people are going to get to the point where they're going to say, I don't think this term matters that much. And it seems to me like nobody has done more to trivialize the term anti-Semite or anti-Semitism, or actually to drain it of its capacity to be a great silencer, more than the people who have just almost gotten hysterical and desperate, seeing these polling data numbers change, seeing these questions being raised about Israel, to now just start almost hysterically and manically branding everyone an anti-Semite. Like, that's going to create a lot of resentment, but also weaken their primary tactic.
Absolutely. And you don't want to lose sight of the fact that all of this behavior, including the complaints of conservatives about, the attacks on free speech before October 7th, that all of this behavior undermines free speech. And in a liberal democracy like the United States, which we all love, it's very important that these fundamental values not be undermined. The idea that you're not free to criticize Israel is a threat to free speech in the United States. It's a threat to fundamental liberal values. And this is a terrible thing. But this is where we are. There are just so many things that you can't talk about anymore on college campuses. People look over their shoulder when they talk about all sorts of issues. It has to do with black-white relations, affirmative action, Israel, Palestine, and so forth and so on. This is a terrible situation. We should be free to, have an open discourse about these matters. But that's not where we are today.
Thanks for watching this clip from System Update, our live show that airs every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on Rumble. You can catch the full nightly shows live or view the backlog of episodes for free on our Rumble page. You can also find full episodes the morning after they air across all major podcasting platforms, including Spotify and Apple. All the information you need is linked below. We hope to see you there.